All right, welcome. Well, I'm Dan Feliciano from OpEx 90. I do Lean Six Sigma training and coaching as well as strategy coaching. And I'm really big into the AI automation, AI agents, and the analytics that comes along with it. And you should be too. So, today's episode or today's live stream, if you will, I decided that I would do something that was constructive to show how AI can be used with our Lean Six Sigma work. And one of the things I've noticed recently as I've been talking to people about projects and things that they might have going on, problems that they might want to be addressing, is that they're not clear about the problem that they're trying to actually solve. So their problem statements are way off. So when I start talking about them, I say, what is the problem you're trying to solve and what's the standard? They can't articulate a good problem statement. Now, many of us know, if you're not Lean Six Sigma trained, you may not know this, but a good problem statement should never infer a cause nor solution. So when we're thinking about problems and we want to discuss it and have a project around it, we shouldn't be talking about that or including a cause or solution in our problem statement. And you'll hear that all the time. Really bad critical thinkers will jump the gun and say, because of this, that, and then we need to do X, Y, Z. And those are all examples of times when people are inferring a cause nor solution. If you really want to understand if someone knows a problem well, I'm going to give you a quick little question you could ask them. When people develop these problem statements, especially politicians are notorious for this, right? They're talking about problems, but they've already identified a cause and a solution. But if you want to play stump the chump with them, ask, what are all other possible causes that may have created this problem? And then you'll find that they don't know what they start stuttering and stammering. What other, if they're jumping the gun, what other solutions did you consider and how did you come to this actual conclusion here that you're going to go forward with? So what I've done is I have an example and I've copied and pasted them into a Google Doc, if you will, some examples of problem statements. And we're going to take those problem statements and we're going to drop them into ChatGPT or Claude or Llama or Gemini, whichever large language model you're using. I used them all. My favorite one, by the way, recently is the NVIDIA model. And we'll see what ChatGPT says and understands about it. Now, I've also, not only am I seeing a lot of issues around problem statements that people aren't clear about the problem they're trying to solve, I'm also seeing the situation where people are saying, AI stinks. You can't use it for anything. I never get a great result or the results are crap, right? Well, you have to think about it. Prompt engineering is going to be key. So I've talked about this in previous videos, right? Where is the future going and what are the skills that are going to be required in the future? Critical thinking. Everyone says they're critical thinkers, but I just gave you an example of 2 questions you can ask someone, especially a politician, to have fun and to decide they're not really critical thinkers. They haven't thought things through. Complex problem solving. How do we solve these complex problems? I worked in an organization that said, if you had to say this problem is complex, that means you didn't understand it well enough to be discussing it. And then data literacy, and that includes statistical thinking, of course, data and analysis and strategic thinking, all skills that people grossly overestimate that they have, or there's some sort of aspirational desire to record it. So here's what I'm going to do. I am going to share my screen. I'm going to grab a problem statement, a predefined problem statement. I'm going to put it in ChatGPT, just rogue ChatGPT. I'm going to say, analyze this problem statement, and we'll see what it comes up with. And then I'm going to show you a prompt that I generated that will analyze a problem statement. And I'm willing to bet it does it better than your single lazy prompt that people are putting in there. If you don't know what a prompt is and you're not prompt engineering, you better get on your game. If you work in the federal government with this Department of Government Efficiency coming through, you better figure out how to demonstrate your value and articulate your problem statements and quantify them. So let's do this. I am going to share my screen here. I'm going to share my, let's see, share. I'm going to share my screen. It's going to ask me, I'm going to share all of this window here. I'm going to share this Google document here. Here you can see I have this Google document, and I'm just going to grab one of these problem statements that exist. These are project problems that were from a long time ago that we've actually seen. Let me just grab this problem statement down here. I'm going to grab this. I'm going to copy and paste it, and then I'm going to hop into ChatGPT. Let me share ChatGPT with you. I'm going to stop sharing that. I'm going to come back into our live mode here. Let me come back into our live mode here, and I'm going to share the ChatGPT window with you. So you can see the ChatGPT window here, right? So all of you can see it, and ChatGPT, NVIDIA, any of those Claude, any of these large language models will work. And I'm going to say, analyze this problem statement, right? Analyze this problem statement. Is it good? Is it good? Make recommendations and make recommendations. And let's see what it tells us. Remember, solving, understanding what the problem is 99% of the problem. You can't get started. And here we go, right? So I have, let me just change this to 2024. And this is, let's see what it thinks of this problem statement. Now, remember what we said, a problem statement should never infer a cause nor solution, and hopefully it has a metric associated with it. This isn't a Lean Six Sigma class, right? I just wanted to share with you some of these experiences I'm having. I hit run, and off and running. It's looking at this, and it's looking at the metric. So right away, it's given us a metric to look for. What is it that we're trying to improve? What metric is it? Again, you want to have fun, go ask your local politician. What is the measure of success, and what is that standard? And again, there's another question. So I just gave you 3 questions that you can use to quickly demonstrate that people are lacking critical thinking and complex problem solving capabilities. So here it says this number seems to be high, right? It says, and then it says the impact areas. It talks about the impact areas. It might impact these operational costs and process gaps, giving you food for thought of other metrics and things you should be looking at. Root cause, it's talking about how to generate root causes and things like that. So right away, someone's going to say, Dan, that's crap. Again, look, ChatGPT doesn't know what it's doing and can't make recommendations. So some of you might be out there and saying, there's no use for ChatGPT because I get results like this. But if you took the time to write a good prompt, and you can reuse those prompts and understand the guidelines to put around it, you can generate a fantastic response. Often when I hear people saying that AI, we can't use AI in Lean Six Sigma, AI is useless, it gives me crappy results, it's because of crappy thinking and a crappy prompt. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to come over here, and I actually have a bunch of these prompts that I've written in the past that are really solid prompts, right? I have one prompt that's for psychographics. If you want to talk about doing, if you're a marketer and you want to do segmentation analysis, whoa, baby. So here I'm clicking on this problem statement analysis. All I have to do is copy and paste that other problem statement in here during fiscal year. Let's change this to 2024. 2024, the first time resolution efficiency for new customer hardware setup was 89%. Again, that's not a well-defined metric. I'm going to hit run, and this is the results you can get by writing a great prompt and taking the time to do so. So this is a repeatable, reproducible process for me. And look what it's doing. It's analyzing and grading this prompt statement. So how do How do business turnaround guys define problem statements and analyze them? How do Lean Six Sigma Master Black Belts look at problem statements? This is an example here, right? So I wrote a great prompt and it says strengths. The statement specifies something that a measurable metric. Fantastic, right? Weakness. The statement lacks context about whether the performance is satisfactory or not. Remember, there's a saying that goes way back to the lean days. If there's no standard, there's no problem. So if we don't have some sort of standard in place, there can't be there isn't really a problem. Objectivity, right? Is this thing objective? We want our problem statements to be objective. Again, go talk to your local politician and you can immediately sniff out their biases, right? It says the statement's neutral and factual. It doesn't assign blame nor imply some sort of cause. That's what we're looking for, right? Relevance, the metrics relevant to our operational performance and customer experience. So if you weren't really sure about other metrics to look at and understanding how you might be able to baseline this or look for other potential root causes or other effects of this problem, this gives you a clue, right? It says there's a weakness here, right? Doesn't provide insight why the efficiency rate is significant, right? So it doesn't, again, talk about the significance. And then here it says exclusion from statements, avoids jargon. So it avoided the jargon, inclusion of a cause and effect, right? One of these things that I often struggle with is when we create problem statement, we jump to a problem and then we immediately jump to what that effect is. You might be right about that effect, but we want to do our problem. When we're solving our problem, we want to address all the possible effects that problem creates. If we look at one, it's going to steer us in the direction. Again, go talk to your local politician, ask them a few questions, and you'll get the idea of what crappy thinking actually looks like. So here we go. It recommended a problem statement. Now, these recommendations, I've been working on it. This is just tongue-in-cheek right now to think about. I don't want it to potentially imply a cause or solution, but here it says falling short of the target 95%. So this is saying you might want to put a target in here, right? So it's giving you an idea of what you might want to put in here. This performance contributed to a call escalation, right? If we're trying to infer and we know there's a cause and effect relationship, we might want to put it in there. And be careful. I always ask the prompt to tell me what's the rationale for these changes, right? Why did I put these changes in and what's in here? Why is this? Why did we add it or remove it? And you can see it's very clear. So according to this, we could make our problem statement really solid by putting in this kind of data. Pretty cool, isn't it? So that's what we're looking at when we're talking about generating a problem statement. Now I can go back to regular ChatGPT again, and let's say we're gonna do another. We're gonna analyze this problem statement, right? This problem statement and make recommendations for improvement, right? This problem statement. I'm a horrible typist. And make recommendations to improve it. Let me grab another, and I'm just going to put a semicolon in here, right? In today's day and age, I wouldn't even think about hiring anyone in a problem solving or business turnaround consulting role like a Lean Six Sigma Master Black Belt if they didn't know how to use ChatGPT and write good prompts. The benefits of using ChatGPT is going to help you with your thinking. And one of the things I like to do is I like to give people a problem to solve in ChatGPT and have them print out the structure they use. It's going to show me if they have a logical pattern to their thinking. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to grab another problem statement here real quick. Here's a problem statement. I've worked all over in many companies and stuff like that. So I'm going to drop in here this problem statement. It says current pre-deployment process was too long inefficient, and cause confusion and waste. So this is your regular chat GPT prompt. This is how someone who isn't well learned in prompt engineering or understand how these large language models might enter it. And let's see what this does for us, right? So it's given us this problem statement. It's generating the results for us and the analysis. Now it's giving us the strength. So you know what? ChatGPT knows I'm in here and looking around. I actually just recently turned the memory function on. So it already knows that I have a pattern to my thinking and writing. So here it tells me the strengths, the weaknesses, right? The terms too long is inefficient and cause confusion. That says it's a weakness. Lack of root cause information, right? So this is, again, you're looking at this, oh, well, I don't want to know the root cause. A good problem statement should never refer a cause or solution, right? A position will incur a cause and solution, right? Go talk to your local politicians. I love beating up on them, right? So here's some recommendations for improvements, and let's see what we get down here. Look at this revised problem statement, right? So now I can see, look at how long it is. It added a bunch of gunk in here. And that's why I can see why people get frustrated with ChatGPT. It's just going out there and doing what you're asking it to do. Now, this prompt, I could have, if I was teaching Lean Six Sigma prompt engineering, AI prompt engineering for Lean Six Sigma, I would explain to you how we could have put some guardrails on this prompt so it wouldn't generate this garbage, right? And I'm thinking about offering a class like that, right? I think it's important to a lot of people because, again, it's going to be the wave of the future. I can see with these new large language models, the AI to automation, these AI agents, industries that are just like record keeping and rote decision making and stuff like that are going to get wiped out. Just think of what it's going to do to project management, right? Project management, you have task set, it's just going to automate all that. So the value of a project management certification is going to go to hell, I think. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to open up my GPT that I wrote, and I don't want to show you the instructions. The instructions that I generated, you're going to say it's crazy, but I'm going to pop that problem statement in here. And boom, off it goes. It's off to the races. It's analyzing this problem statement. And I gave it very specific instructions because I reused this prompt. So I'm looking for clarity, specificity, right? And then I'm asking it for strengths and weaknesses. You know, this is a beautiful thing. So you're writing a problem statement. You're trying to articulate this to your boss. All right, look at this. Ambiguous terms, too long, too inefficient. We get that. It's neutral, doesn't assign blame. You often see blame, you know, some blame storming in problem statements. Again, the weaknesses, relevance. This is relevant to operational issues and impacting process or outcomes. So it's thinking for us. Remember, in Lean Six Sigma, in the define phase of our projects, we're still developing our project. We may not have all that data. We might have a problem. Somebody might give us a problem statement, but it's up to us to clean it up, figure out that baseline data so that we can understand the impact it's having across the organization. Exclusion of solutions. It does not suggest or imply solutions, which is good. We don't want it to imply a solution, right? That's for politicians to do. Avoids jargon. But here's a weakness. Confusion and waste could benefit from further definition. Cause and effect considerations. I am really apprehensive about having a cause and effect statement. Because of this problem, we're seeing this result over here. Sometimes you may be able to do so, but I honestly believe if we put that in there and we're bringing a team together, we've already biased them to looking at that one particular effect when there might be other effects that we need to take into consideration. So here it is. It rewrote that problem statement for us. It said that current pre-deployment process takes an average of 15 days, exceeding our target time frame of 10 days, right? So we know it added this in here. So it's given us an idea of what this problem statement should look like and how we might be able to beef it up. This delay results in unclear task assignments, right? Leading to redundant rework at a cost. Again, I don't like, I know some people do, so it's in there for some people. I would rather not put in that cause and effect relationship. But then again, in here, it's letting us know exactly what it did, right? Rational for changes. It's talking about the rationale for the changes, the objectivity of it, the relevance, right? How relevant it is, the exclusions, the jargon. So right there, we have a decent problem statement. And once you get this up and running, and you start training the model, and for years, I was actually a beta tester way back in ChatGPT 3 pre 3.5 out there. I've never turned the memory function on. When you turn the memory function on, it's starting to learn your questions, your process, your thought process. So I can say in here, I can put in here now, remove the potential effects, from the problem statement, right? So from the problem statement, Dan has a beef with that, and we can just pop it in there, and ChatGPT's off to the races. And then there you go. It wrote a problem statement that is more in line with the kind of problem statements that I like to write. So again, defining the problem is crucial to the success of problem solving. And that might sound obvious, but it isn't. Oftentimes what happens is we have a problem, or we think we have a problem, and then we immediately try to imply some sort of blame or a cause, and then we put a solution on it. The other thing is sometimes these problem statements that we're generating aren't measurable. There's no real measure in place to exist. I hate those kind of metrics. And another thing is, how do you know you have a problem if there's not an existing standard to compare it to? So let's grab one more. Let's do one more of these for fun. Let's see. Another problem. I'm grabbing another problem statement. We're going to drop it in here. Let's go back to just regular ChatGPT. Now ChatGPT saw that other prompt. It is learning. I have a whole library of AI prompts that can be used for Lean Six Sigma, and they're phenomenal, including prompts that work within Google Sheets, right? So I've been using Google Sheets quite a bit, and people don't realize you can buy add-ons, or even Google is starting to embed it in there, because I have a friend that wrote a Google AI add-in. It was equals AI and in parentheses, and Google asked them to change it, right, for their add-in. So we know it's coming. So we can use these prompts within Google Sheets, which is absolutely fantastic. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to say, analyze this problem statement, right? And make recommendations for improvement, right? And make recommendations to improve it. I'm going to drop that problem statement in here. I'm going to hit go. We're off to the races. And then you can see here, look at this. Because the memory function is on, ChatGPT is already learning what it is that we need to do, right? So it's already following up and improving the results. So it has specificity, clarity, impact. And it's looking for root causes. So ChatGPT is still not right. It's looking for that. It hasn't learned that yet. I could have in that prompt said, to ensure you don't imply a cause nor solution, and then it would get rid of that root cause. So it says enhance it, and it's not quite as clear. It says focus on this, and then here it is. It revised it, and it added a bunch of extra stuff to it. It's proposing data collection. So I can take these prompts and further generate other solutions. Believe it or not, I have prompts that I can take any problem you're solving out there in the real world. Someone's done it 1,000 times, and document it somewhere. So you can actually go out there and say, once you have a solid problem statement, say, hey, this is the kind of industry I'm in. Here's the business. Here's the operational unit I'm within. Can you recommend or at least help me start thinking about critical metrics that I might need to identify? That I brainstorm some potential solutions, and it will do so for you, right? So again, that's a whole different course, a whole different class. That would be AI prompt engineering for Lean Six Sigma, which is something I may consider doing in the future. But here you can see it gave us a problem statement, and it added a bunch of stuff to it, and it's giving you an idea of what that problem statement might look like. So we'll come back to my problem statement, my engine that I generated here. I'll pop it in here, and it's going to go off to the races. And you might say, this is a lot of work for a problem statement, but just think about the amount of time and energy and what it can do to your rapport if you show up with a bad problem statement and you haven't thought things through. So here it's telling me the strengths and weaknesses, very important to me. The objectivity, is this problem statement objective, right? The relevance, how relevant is this, or what is it more relevant to? Gives me strengths and weaknesses. Exclusion of solutions, right? The statement describes the issue without suggesting solutions. And again, I have words built in there that it's looking for that would infer a solution is being made. It avoids jargon. And here the term full assessment and product consideration, it's saying we need to go back and think about this, right? What does this really mean? So just think about how much better you can communicate this problem statement. And then it says strengths, again, the cause and effect relationship here. Again, I'm not a fan of these cause and effect relationships. I realize that there's some possible effect that's driving us to do this problem statement, but I'll try to play it down because I want to make sure I'm not putting blinders on myself. And then here's a suggested improvement, right? So it says at least 22% of the changes to the approved requirements are implemented without a thorough assessment and coordination across the product teams. And then it's adding some other stuff that you might want to put in there. And there's some people that demand you do this, that they absolutely love this, right? That we know that we're looking for this issue here. That's that problem area we're looking for, and that we're going to do something about it. And then it makes that rationale for changes. So again, my point here was in this little video series, was to show you the benefits of using AI and good prompt engineering, right? So I hear people say, you can't use prompt engineering. Well, when you're considering you might be creating a project charter, you might want to create a goal statement. Think about it. Once you have this solid problem statement, creating a goal statement is easy, right? And again, I have all the vernacular about how to create a goal statement. It should never imply assign blame. It should never assign blame, should never infer cause nor solution, right? So again, those same rules apply because we want to be as objective and open-minded as possible. We don't want to put blinders on looking for an immediate fix or an immediate effect, right? We want to make sure we're doing the best job for that organization. And that problem statement is one of the first ways of getting there. So AI has a fantastic place in the world of Lean Six Sigma in generating these documents. Just think about it. Once you write a business case, I can take like a small little business case and then document the steps and the procedures involved. I can have AI create an initial SIPOC diagram for me. Six Sigma professionals know what it is. It stands for suppliers, inputs, process, outputs, and customers. It gives me a systems view of the area that my scope area that I might be able to work within, right? So it gives me a nice rounding effect. And as a matter of fact, there are lots of people out there selling these AI automation apps out there, getting it totally wrong. People are coming to me saying, hey, look, we brought on this agency and these clowns came in and they automated our process. But guess what? We lost our data because it's being all automated. They didn't know what data to keep. By the way, they miss these three stakeholders and what they need to be informed in. Those are all issues around not really doing a good job around understanding that problem. It sounds like someone's in the chat room in there. I'm surprised to see that. Hey, how are you? If you have a question, just drop it in there. So you can see using AI is going to be greatly beneficial. And I'll create more series. I'll show you how to do a SIPOC diagram with ChatGPT, how to do maybe a critical to quality flow down tree. That would be fantastic out there, right? Definitely in the measure phase. I'm using Google Sheets for a lot of stuff now because I can just get my data, drop it in there with writing good prompts. It'll give me my descriptive statistics, tell me if my data is normal. I can do hypothesis testing, do all sorts of great things. And then, of course, as I'm documenting my process and talking about it, creating nice, simple images to convey your message. There's great tools out there like Napkin AI that you can use to help you create articles, and things along those lines. Oh, so what is Lean Six Sigma? Someone wants to know what is Lean Six Sigma. Lean Six Sigma is, I'm going to call it more of a process improvement methodology that's rooted in data and understanding variation in your process. So it's problem solving with a heavy emphasis, and maybe too much. Some people would say too much of an emphasis on statistics. If you love math and statistics, Six Sigma is a great place for you. So it's a problem-solving approach. Many people in the past said it was strategic, but it's a problem-solving approach that is broken out into 5 phases. It's defining the problem, measuring and baselining our problem. I say mapping and measuring, creating a process map, measuring our problem, analyzing it to identify the potential root causes, right? So we're gonna have a bunch of potential root causes. We're gonna narrow it down to a few. Identify improvements, right? So we're going to brainstorm a bunch of improvements and narrow it down on a few. We're going to make sure those improvements work. And then, of course, we're going to control the process. One of the big gaps for you that asked that, for whoever that was that asked that question about what is Lean Six Sigma, a lot of people jump on this bandwagon of Lean Six Sigma, which is a great problem-solving approach and using data, but they struggle with really understanding data and analytics. But in the service world in particular, if you don't have a good business process management system in place, and that's one of my big problems in many service industries, we don't have a process management system in place to manage our processes and have those metrics. And then you might end up going back and having to collect a lot of data. So Lean Six Sigma, you'll hear people say it's about reducing defects and variation in the process. It's about problem solving. And then again, in the past, it was meant for breakthrough improvements. It wasn't for continual improvement, right? The myth out there is that Lean Six Sigma was all about continual improvement. Well, why do I need a project charter? Why do I need to justify this if it's about continual improvement? So Lean Six Sigma is a great certification. It teaches you critical thinking, complex problem solving, data literacy, including statistical thinking and data analytics. All those, the skills that consulting firms and businesses are looking for is what you learn in Six Sigma. So that's it, folks. I just wanted to demonstrate how we can use AI in Lean Six Sigma in a very simple way of getting your project up and running by making sure we have a solid problem statement. Reach out to me. I'm Dan Feliciano at OpEx 90. And Dan at OpEx 90 is how you can reach out to me. Do Lean Six Sigma training. I do a lot about AI. I have tons of blogs written. If you're a government employee, you might want to go to my blog and check out the blogs that I've been writing. I already have it in my mind how this Department of Government Efficiency is going to work out. Or if you're a federal contractor, if you're a contractor to the federal government and you're not delivering results or you're not clear about the results you're delivering, you might want to go check out some of my blogs. So again, hey, have a nice day. I'll make another video on another more advanced topic within Lean Six Sigma, showing you how to use AI and what prompt engineering can do for you, right? I showed you the difference between a lazy, bad prompt, and you didn't see the behind the scenes of that prompt. That prompt that I wrote for my problem statement is probably almost a page and a half long, but you can see how beautiful it is. All right, folks. Have a good one. Dan Feliciano, OpX90. Check out my website, opex90.com. Great blogs out there. If Doge is coming after you, if you're a federal employee, you might want to check out some of those blogs that I've written out there. If you're a contractor and you're not sure you're delivering value to the federal government, you're abusing that contract, you might want to read those blogs. So have a great day. Ciao. Thanks for the question, by the way. I appreciate your time and input. Bam. We're done, folks.